is CBS 11 News Now.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of News Now, our digital update. I'm Gilma Avalos, coming to you live from our Fort Worth studios on this finally Friday. We thought we'd give you a little peek at what we're working on for when we see you at 10 o'clock. And Andrea Lucia is working on a story that definitely caught our attention here in the newsroom. It's a new system that lets people argue their case to a judge or prosecutor without having to show up to court. This is in Farmers Branch. Andrea, we're all ears. So how exactly does this work?
Yeah, well, Gilma, if you've ever had to go to court to fight a ticket, it could definitely be a hassle going to court early in the morning, not necessarily in the city that you live in. Farmers Branch has spent several years looking for an easier system, and so they created this online system that you can go to. You can actually go on here on your tablet, on your phone, anything that has web access. You can argue your case. You can submit evidence and upload it. You can put your plea in, guilty, not guilty, no contest, and then you can get a response from either a prosecutor or a judge offering you a deal that you can choose to accept or not. And of course, the hope is that this is something that makes the court much more accessible to people who can't get off of work and can't make childcare arrangements. That it's the hope is that more people are going to deal with their cases.
And Andrea, I know that people have to really schedule around these inconveniences, frankly. So can you use this to fight things other than traffic tickets?
So generally, anything that's a Class C misdemeanor, there are some things that the court says it doesn't feel comfortable doing online, like we found simple assault cases is one thing that you can't get done, but pretty much anything else that would go through municipal court, they're allowing you to deal with through this portal.
So what are people saying about it, and what has the response been so far, Andrea?
So far, they haven't really gotten the word out a lot. But even with that, they say they have had about 100 cases in the last week, and that's just based on people going online, finding this themselves, and figuring out how to work through it. Now they're starting to get the word out. They're talking to us. They did an interview with us, and they are sending messages out to people as they get tickets, and they said they expect to be bombarded.
Yeah, we can just imagine how much more convenient this will be for so many people. Andrea, thank you. We will definitely be tuning in for this story at 10 when we see you then. Okay, up next, we're talking about a life-saving braking device that Congress says every passenger train in the country needs to have, yet our I-team, you, Brian New, discovered that's not the case.
No, and what we're talking about, the technology is called positive train control. And basically what it is, it's an automatic braking device that if a train is going too fast and the engineer doesn't slow down, the system will automatically brake or slow down the train. It's not new technology. It's been around, but it hasn't been implemented on many of these trains. Remember the train crash that we had in Washington just last month. 3 people were killed. A federal report came out and said, had there been this technology on that train, the crash would have been prevented. The I-team, we have found more than 20 train crashes, fatal train crashes, passenger train crashes in the last decade that would have been prevented, according to federal officials, if they had this technology. So what we're doing at 10, and you can see right here, the TRE, we're looking at the local commuter rails, the TRE, the A train up in Denton, and the Tex rail that's going to be opening up later on in Tarrant County later this year. And we're looking to see if they have this technology. I can tell you the TRE does not. So we asked them why and what's the holdup and when they're going to install this technology.
And Brian, time and time again, the NTSB has found that had this technology been installed, that it could have prevented any number of tragedies.
Yeah, this is not a new revelation. That's kind of what struck us. Back in 2008 when we had some people may remember the one in Chatsworth, California, just right outside Los Angeles, where dozens of people were killed. And right after that is when Congress passed this law saying, hey, every train needs to have this technology. It would have prevented this one, and they gave the railroads 7 years to get it done. But then when the 7 years came, they just extended the deadline. And then when that deadline came, they extended it again. And so we're asking kind of why are they extending this deadline when everyone in the industry agrees that this technology is needed and that it can save lives.
And Brian, one question that some of our viewers may have, we know that this deals with speed, but could this potentially prevent any other tragedies? For instance, a car, unfortunately, on the train tracks and a train is approaching. That's probably not going to prevent that type of tragedy.
No, I mean, it still takes time for a train to stop, especially these larger trains. And so if a car is going to dart around a track kind of at the last minute, dart onto the tracks, this technology probably won't stop that. But if they can see where there's a problem on the track a mile down the line or something like that, they can alert. They'll have sensors not only on the trains, but they'll have sensors along the track, and that will alert the engineer, hey, there's a problem up ahead. But the unique thing about this technology is what we've seen with some of these train crashes is that the engineer was texting, distracted.
Right.
So if the engineer doesn't act, this system automatically will react and stop and slow down. And
in this Seattle case, I understand that the engineer has said that he simply missed the signs warning that he was traveling against the speed limit. Yeah,
he was going about 80 miles an hour, and this is video around this curve here. He should have been going about 30 miles an hour.
Wow.
So this system, had it been in place here, it would have alerted the engineer, told him, whoa, 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 slow down. And if you remember that this was a new line there in Seattle. They had just started.
It was their debut.
Yeah, it was the debut, the morning commute. And so it would have alerted the engineer. And then if the engineer wasn't paying attention, it would have done it automatically.
So I know we're really looking forward to the story. Anything else that we can talk about? What is Congress doing to ensure that trains are doing what they should?
Well, I mean, they passed the law back in 2008, but they've given extensions. You know, they gave an extension. They first gave them 7 years to get this done, and then when that 7 years was up, they gave them a couple more years extension, and now we're finding out they're giving, you know, some, including here locally, kind of an additional extension, a third extension, to give them some extra time. I mean, there is cost. I mean, for the TRE, we're talking about $45 million is going to be the expense for this.
Wow.
So and this is an unfunded federal mandate. And so agencies like the TRE, they have to come up with this money.
That is
so that's been a bit of a challenge. But again, we go back to this has been a decade, you know, that this technology has been out there and that we've all agreed is kind of the industry and lawmakers have all said, hey, we need this technology, yet we still don't have it.
It's time. Well, thank you, Brian. We will see you at 10, and we hope to see all of you at 10 in just less than 2 hours. Thank you for watching CBS 11, the ones for Texas. For the latest updates, you can always head to cbsdfw.com.